using the imagination. I imagine the movement. I see it in my mind's eye, and my body follows. The imagination is just the heart mind, really. So feelings become movements. And one at a time. So just reaching up now, ringing the bells. And reaching forwards. reaching with the little finger and catching with the little finger, pull something in. And then reaching behind, again, catching with the little finger. And then reaching with both. So one little finger reaches behind, one reaches in front, and then they both come in as you turn back to the front. And then just speeding it up into knocking the gates of life. So striking belly and back on the way back to the front. And then just into riding horse. Should be easier to feel the Dantian region now. Now we've just struck it. So just feel it here and just rolling the hands like you're just rolling a little ball. So the Dantian. The Chinese do a lot of work imagining the yin yang symbol. This is what we're doing here, really. It's like a little ball, but it's like a three-dimensional yin yang symbol at the same level as your Dantian. Feel the movement in the body. So there's a sense of the spine sort of bending with it. Try and let the hips and the sacroiliacs relax as you continue. And then the same thing, but with the heart. Heart, mind, center of spirit. Feel the heart. Eros and thymos, the deep lower heart feels very different from the upper heart. And then the head, just point in the brain. In the brain, there are those three glands, the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the pineal. They're all quite close together. That's the region. So if you have the tip of the tongue on the very roof of the mouth, the uppermost part of the palate, then there's a sense that the tongue is trying to push through the palate into that region. So those glands secrete hormones. So in a sense, we're stimulating that. And then just back to the heart again. And now feeling that rolling as basically the figure of eight exercise. So there's a sense of tracing the outline of the sphere or the circle, but also filling it in with these two figures of eights. It's really one figure of eight. One hand is going over the top as the other hand is coming underneath. The dominant finger is the middle finger. There's a sense that the circle that we were doing is in the deep heart, and when it breaks and these two figures of eights rise up out of it and stimulate the thymus. And then let's come back down to the down chin. So start off with the circle. But it becomes the figure of eight exercise again, just two little figures of eights inside the circle. And then bringing it up to the head again. Again, it breaks into the figures of eights. Sense here that these figures of eights are rising to this crown of the head, the point that's suspended from the ceiling. And then making a circle. that reaches up to the top of the heart and to the underneath of the dantian. Visualizing it as a yin-yang symbol, the black and the white rolls one way and then it rolls the other. And then the figure of eight, for this sense that you're tracing one figure of eight with both hands, coming over the top of one as you're coming underneath with the other hand. And this figure of eight is enclosed in the circle that we've just been tracing. Back to the circle. So as you continue, just sink until you are actually enclosed within this circle. So your bottom hand is sort of scooping underneath that foot, and the top hand as though it's reaching over your head, but it's a really tight fit. So you don't want to do too much with the arms, but you want to sense that you're enclosed, real body as one unit. as I continue, I'm trying to sink more and more so that there's a real sense that the descending hand is getting underneath the foot. Feeling that I really have to crouch to get underneath the top hand. And now just gently, just the two circles. It's like reaching forwards and reaching back, but just minimized. And slowly allow it to become the previous exercise. Tracing the circle. So everything's the same. This is the sense I can slip between the different exercises. If I reduce the circle, it just becomes the little one with one of the senses. And then just slip into the figure of eight. This is never far away. The circle is always threatening to split into two figures of eights. Feel the burst, the intensification as one hand goes over the top and the other hand comes underneath. It's real high energy at that point because a lot is happening. And then bring it down into the legs. So the straightening, bending of the legs. This leg is straightening, and then it bends to get the hand to go over the top of the figure of 8 and to draw me back to that side. And now just straightening and bending the legs just a bit more simply, just to get a turn. So single whip. My back arm is with my back leg, both straightening. Feeling of squeezing the leg to make it extrude into its lengthening. So it's getting longer, but it's also getting thinner. And when it pulls back and bunches up, it gets fatter. The leg and the arm are straightening, but there's also a sense that my spine from my min meng down is really trying to extend down into the back leg. And that will help just slip the heel out. There's a sense of release. Something is releasing behind you. Like your tail is coming out. The tail is growing out of the base of your spine. And just feel that spirit that's involved in that to get the tail to extend out. Something in you has to become really quite fierce and lively. So as the tail extends here, there's a sense of something coming out of your forehead as well. With opening up both ends of the spine. So the bottom of our spine, it tends to be bunched up, closed, and it gives us more of a sense of control, but it also means that we don't have the speed and the spirit, the release, the freedom that comes from having this tube that's open both ends. So I have to, this real sense that something is flowing down here into the ground so that something can flow up here. If it's closed at the bottom, it will tend not to emit at the top as well. So this is real letting the bum out. That instruction to keep your bum in, there's a lot of stiffness and repression attached to it, partly because we just overdo it, I think. Keep the bum in the wrong way, then you never really get into the ground because it has to extend out of my spine and into the ground. And now going from single whip into lifting hands. And here it's especially important here to keep this open, because you want a sense that you're sort of reaching quite a way behind your back foot. With the bottom of your spine. Pull, and you can feel it. If there's no possibility of release here, you just can't get the spirit, you can't get the aggression into your hands. So if I'm holding this in here, then it will be held in here as well. So we just got to release. Releasing the tail enables me to release the spirit from here, from the heart, from the head, from the eyes. Single whip, pulling it back and extending into lifting hands. Let the heel slip back, the single whip, that helps this release. Pull, bring the heel back in as you pull back in, and then here, let the toes come up. And again, that will help this settle back. And then the other leg. Lifting hands, driving myself down into the back leg, releasing here. And then pulling, and then extending into single limb. So that measured mind that's trying to get it right, watching what you're doing, works against the spirit. We have to appreciate that. So there comes a point where you just have to just let it go and not worry too much about whether it's technically correct. Get back to riding horse. The Dan Qian Ming Men. Feel the sacrum underneath it. The sacrum is connected to the sternum. When I can just release my sacrum down, then I will also release my sternum upwards. That's the main adjustment for everyone. Because we're basically all depressed. We've all pressed down the spirit with the thinking mind, the anxious mind that's talking to itself all the time. When that's in operation, then you're basically depressed. The heart is crushed. So we want a lift here, this sense that the thymus is just free to just lift upwards towards the ceiling. And we want to feel that as the same, really, as allowing this sacrum, this freedom to descend through the legs. So the sacrum, which for me, it's like it sort of symbolizes the physical body. It's the heavy bone. It's the center. It's the sacred bone. So the body wants to sink. It wants to dissolve and just soak up into the ground. And the spirit body, which for me is focused in the thymus, just wants to leave the physical body and float upwards or just fly. And of course, at the moment of death, that's what's meant to happen. But it often doesn't, because we live too long, basically, I suspect. So Castaneda had this thing that, you should die when your spirit is at its peak, not when you've declined into decrepitude. You can't die the correct death then. You just sort of fizzle out. Now let's just try a little bit of stepping. The way we've been doing it, just trying to be really strict about the single weightedness. Clear and calm, Qing Jing, 2 words, but they put them together, the Chinese, into this Qing Jing. So Qing means clear and Jing means calm. So clear in the sense of full and empty, clearly distinguished. You know, I can see things as they exactly are. I'm not seeing an approximation. And calm in the sense of quiet and still inside. So I sink down into the foot to bring this one up. Now, as I step forwards, what I want to become mindful to is the requirement of my body to actually move backwards a little bit. Otherwise, I'm going to fall into the foot as it hits the ground. And then I can bring the weight into it. And then I send the weight back. And then I bring the foot up. And now when I extend the foot backwards, effectively my body has to move forwards a tiny bit to keep my center of gravity over the foot. This is what we want to feel. We want to feel the adjustment of your center of gravity as we extend the foot out. So as I extend my foot forwards, my body is actually moving backwards, and that's what I want to feel. Full and empty are clearly distinguished, but so are body and spirit. My spirit is reaching back, but that requires my body to come forwards to keep the balance, and then I can move back. Foot extends forwards, but I'm being driven backwards. That enables me to get the foot down by sinking. Let's try a bit with the other foot. Send the foot out, but I'm actually sinking back. I'm really sinking. Effectively, it's like my outside edge. It's the rim of the foot. So we sink into the rim of the foot. like mainly the outside edge, but also like the back edge, the front edge. So that the energy can rise up the center. So I'm going into the outside edge here, brings the foot up, and then as I extend the foot, it's really pushing me back. And then I can get the foot down, and it's only then that I start moving forwards. Let's just bring it up again. Let's just try this yin yang symbol again. And then let it split into the two. It's one figure of eight, but tracing the same figure of eight with both hands. And from this imagination, spirit, heart, mind, it's all the same. Something is leading the movement. The energy is leading the movement. And now just let's bring it up do a little bit of these, just a little circle around the dantian. And then bringing it up to the heart. And then slipping it up to the head. And then back down to the heart. And then down to the dantian again. And then just relaxing it down. But you've still got those movements going on inside.